The U.S. women's venture at the Tokyo Olympics has come to an end, and it ends with a bronze medal. They get on the podium. They finish third. You don't want to finish fourth in the Olympics. It's the worst. You're rather off finishing last. So they got it done there. Tremendous performance by the old guard. Megan Rapinoe, Carly Lloyd were just spectacular. And that's part of what we're going to discuss here as we look towards the next stage of the women's game. We'll talk about everything as we lead up to the 2023 World Cup. And I'll tell you about what I thought they did at Tokyo and how we should rate it. This is the Soccer OG. Please rate, review, share. Come here. Come here. I don't know if this is good luck, but I was just sitting here. And the dog came into the studio. She wanted to come into the studio to say hello. You want to say hello? You want to say hello? Okay, I got to get to work. But I appreciate you coming and checking on me. So, this is the Soccer OG. Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button so we can continue to grow this family. Thank you for all the kind words. We were in Las Vegas. It was a 24 hours that wore me down to the nub, folks. It was heavy lifting. I should say I had to fly back. There was only a couple Spirit Airlines flights, and 1 minute they were there and 1 minute they weren't listed anymore. It was the only thing, so I had to go a little bit later. And we're back here. And our summer of soccer is wrapping up. All this discussion about the new leagues, the transfer window, the marketplace is heating up. Lionel Messi saying he's done with Barcelona. I mean, that really hasn't hit us, has it? How significant that is. And I will talk about Lionel Messi. Maybe I'll talk about it this coming weekend and what it means for the world's game, because it's not so cut and dry that he just goes to a different club and slots in there and does what he was doing at Barcelona. He's not that kind of player anymore. You have to structure a team around him, but we'll get to that. Want to talk about the U.S. women's effort, and when you start a tournament losing to Sweden 3-0, then you tie Australia, to fight back and beat the Netherlands, to battle against Canada, fall short against your rivals, put them over, which is a nice walkaway. I know you don't like to talk about that, but building Canada, which is always going to be your best rival, that's not a bad thing. Canada and Sweden playing for the gold medal. It was pushed back a bit, so I don't have the final yet. I think Sweden's going to win it and really stake their claim as maybe the biggest threat for the United States come 2023. But after everything that happened, the USA, with a real power move here to go out and get that bronze medal. You don't want to lose third place games when there's a medal at stake. In a World Cup, there shouldn't be a third place game. But the U.S. went out and took it, and now make the transition a lot easier where they don't leave empty-handed. That's a big-time move. That's a big-time move. When a team that's won everything falls down a rung or two and they have to play for third place, motivation is probably an issue. Did not look at all like motivation was an issue for the United States. They said so in advance, and they came out and took it. Carly Lloyd, we mentioned, this is her last Olympics. Megan Rapinoe, last Olympics. And that's part of what needs to happen. That hasn't been announced, but Rapinoe, Becky Sauerbrunn, a couple others transitioning out ahead of 2023. It's time to blood the youngsters, bring them in. You already have a nice core group that you can have lead to 2023, but you need some new ideas. You need just that young exuberance to come in there. It replenishes things. It always does. And I know I've said that ad nauseum here on the Soccer OG, but that's what it does, regardless if it's the men's or the women's game. You'll have your Kristen Press, Alex Morgan, Julie Ertz, Rose Lavelle, who is a young player, the Mewis sisters, Sam Mewis who's 28, I believe, and Roosevelt. That's going to be your team. And then you slot in the young players that have shown that they have so much talent. Remember, the NWSL and then the money to play in Europe is there for the ladies, where they can become real professionals and do really well, making a living playing pro soccer. So the transition has to happen, and I think it'll start occurring here. The U.S. women, by the way, and just to further it, when we look at the Olympics, it hasn't been a good Olympics. It hasn't been a good Olympics. TV numbers are way down. Can you blame them? There haven't been great performances. The biggest story has been Simone Biles, and that is not for what she's done in the gymnasium. So there's been other stories that normally it's all on the field. Many big teams have struggled, but the U.S. women's soccer team have as much clout as just about anybody other than the men's basketball team. I'd say track and swimming, maybe Ledecky and a couple other. No, actually, I withdraw that. That's it. They have created so much equity that they are there and people will tune in to see them. Many people tune in to see them lose, as I've seen on my comments from my last women's national team video. Do I like seeing them all take a knee? No. Do I let it bother me? No. I honor I respect their decision for what they want to do. I think it's at this point it's a bit distracting because we talk about it, but far be it from me to say anything. It is their forum. They can do whatever want, and it doesn't bother me. So more power to them, and use this platform as you would like, because you have done everything, and this group has done everything in their power to lift this program. But we shall see, because there's no doubt there is a backlash. I don't know how significant that is. Big numbers to watch these games. And that's not people who dislike them. Some people who don't will tune in. But they just cause a reaction, which is just so rarefied air in sports. That's amazing. There's athletes you tune in because you hated. Tiger Woods, you either loved him or you hated him. The women's team too. That gives them clout. It's important. But they are such a big ticket item here, and that will continue as they prepare for the World Cup. This Olympics tournament, I've told you about the flaws. It's a 12-team tournament. That is not a tournament. It was formatted in such a way it didn't feature the number 2 team or the number 3 team. That would be Germany and France. Sweden's number 5, England 6. There is a Great Britain team. Brazil 7. There's a big drop-off when you get there. But a Sweden-Canada Olympic final, that's a final that probably never happens in a World Cup. Maybe Sweden. Canada doesn't get to a World Cup final. Canada, no. It'd be shocking. They had a good run, but it was because of the Olympics that they made a final. The big competition coming in 2023 in Australia and New Zealand, hoping everything's better. I would like to make a visit there. I didn't know if you knew this, but in my formative years, I lived in Sydney, Australia. Went to the Morris Brothers College, grew up on rugby league and rugby union, played a little Aussie rules. Had a thick Australian accent, which was beaten out of me within 2 years of moving to Miami. It is what it is. Otherwise, I would have kept it and sounded like this. Hey, mate, hey, Cobber, where I can get a pie and get a beer at this hour? Okay, it's not as good as it used to be. So I'm looking forward to participate in that. It's going to be 32 teams. That's an upgrade from 24. I don't know how that's gonna look. Just so you know, the 32nd ranked team in the world right now is Vietnam, which is a good Asian team, but there's a big drop off from 6 to 7 and 12, and then a bigger drop off. But this is expansion of the world game. The men's tournament's going to 48. The rest of the world has to catch up to teams like the US. But just to put a close on the Olympics, the women got a medal, leave with good feeling, a great send-off with Carly Lloyd and Megan Rapinoe, and now they can fix the problems because they know there's some issues. We mentioned bringing in the young players. I want to throw in a few names. Many, these young players, these aren't names that are coming just completely out of left field. Trinity Rodman, Sophia Smith, Mallory Pugh coming back. Names that people know. Katarina Macario, who was on that squad, we'll see playing a lot more. She's an exciting talent. But we know these names. And the next tier. The system is working. So this group now, buoyed by that, has to answer some questions. Is it a stylistic thing? The tactics at times, not in this third place game, mind you. The U.S. really came for it. But Vlatko Andonovski, he's going to get the cycle towards the World Cup. But you'd like to see him be a little less cautious, play to his strengths a bit. Let these players that have that talent really express themselves. Didn't see that a lot here. Maybe he sees it because it's his job on the line. It was good to see criticism sent his way because this is the top team in the world. And to not win it shows how far it's come. It's not like, hey, great effort, girls. No, you heard people go, it's not good enough. That's a fantastic development because it's not good enough. And guess who knows that? The U.S. women's national team. They know it. By the way, they also get another pay spike because they won the bronze medal. That's how they roll. So very good. So they'll go towards the 32-team tournament. And by the way, the 2027 Women's World Cup, possibly in the United States, a year after it was in the men's game. I mean, this 26-27 could be those 2 years in the U.S. which change it permanently. And then this is the biggest or the second biggest sport in this country. Third biggest sport. Second biggest sport? It's going to be right there, obviously, behind NFL, American football. So all in all, a really good effort by the U.S. women. Now they focus on it. I think there'll be some games coming up where we bid farewell to several of these players who could not have done any more, winning 2 World Cups. But we're excited to see that new group. They have waited patiently, and they haven't complained. It says a lot about them. They have kissed the ring, as you say, and revered the team before them. 4 golds, they have a silver, now they have a bronze. Now you focus on the big competition, because it is the big competition. World Cup, Olympics, not even in the same ballpark. I don't know why I'm using all these baseball expressions. The Soccer OG, subscribe. Check out the Soccer OG podcast. My 24 hours in Vegas is up there. Get you an experience inside Allegiant Stadium. I think you'll enjoy it. We'll be back with much more videos as we get ready for the fall and the leagues.